Man, turn the headphones up. Turn them shits up. Turn them shits up. I'm taking you back to the old school, back to my high school when I tried to be real cool. And I never really tried to rap, but I knew some dudes that did. And then they would bang on the table and be like, dude, that's cool. Can you get on this mic? Can you get on this beat? Can you get on this shit? Can you get on these lyrics? And I'm like, nah, not for real, but you know, I'll listen to you do it. And then they was trying to spit, and they would be talking about the same kind of shit that I'm talking about right now. And then, you know, they would be like, that's kind of cool, that's kind of fly. And then you would listen to that shit after school, and you'd be like, you know what, actually it wasn't that great. But you know, they were trying to do their shit, and you gotta try to create. And 99% of everything that people do is not so good. And then you just gotta kind of sift through the hood to find the diamond in the rough. And it can be kind of rough, actually, you know, because when you're trying to create, it's like you're trying to prostrate yourself in front of the gods of creation, and it's like you'd rather play PlayStation because it's so much easier than trying to create something new and trying to be something, because you can make it feel blue when you don't really do how you do when you want to do it. And then you trying to do it, but you actually kind of blew it, and then you maybe even blew it in front of other people who were watching, and then it's kind of embarrassing, and you're like, man, that was crossing a line that I don't ever want to really cross again, and if I can help it, I will not do it again, my friend, because it's so much easier to sit at home and just do the thing that you do every day when you're not even really thinking the thing. And then you just like let your life kind of slide by. But you know, that ain't really the way to be fly, because you gotta try to create if you wanna do it good, and you know, sit through the should and could and would, and you don't wanna be at the end of your life and be like shoulda, coulda, woulda, da-da, da-da. I ain't done shit, but I played a bunch of games, and I don't know, that's cool too, actually. It's alright, you can do whatever you fucking want to do. I feel like there's something to this. Like, I feel like this is the part of the song. This is the part of the song that I can get, that I most identify with, is the deep voice saying, but I'm not a rapper. I feel like this could be a regular segment on the stream. I make a song where I say I'm not a rapper, and then I try to freestyle over it. The opposite of neat is kind of what it's doing, because it's scattering the beat, and it's not even really intuitive, because when you groovative and then you movative your body, and it's posterior to your ludative and crudative. I'm just making up words because it's the groovative that's provative to be the movative way to do it. That one didn't really work, but it would almost work for a minute, you know. I feel like you can train your brain to do things like this and not have it be such a drain. but I haven't trained my brain, so it is a drain. And when I try to do it, it's like it all runs down the drain because it's like flushing a toilet, which sometimes can be good, but other times can be you'd be like, you should have really like looked in there before to make sure that there weren't like some weird shit going on. You need to report to the doctor. Because it's important actually to check that shit proper, which sounds kind of weird, but this is a medical checkup stream right here, so this is a PSA for all you out there. Make sure to check your poop, okay? You don't need to scoop it out and like look at it under a microscope or anything, but every once in a while before you flush, take a look and make sure that it's all kosher, and that it doesn't need to smell like ambrosia, but it should stay in the enclosure of the toilet before you flush. Otherwise it can be kind of a rush up into the air, and you don't want that shit to be aerosoling, because it's quite appalling. If your shit is aerosoling all through the grate, then you want to make sure that you have your mask on, and even then, it might take quite a while to really absolve yourself of that experience, because it's kind of queasy-inducing, I'm losing my tempo. I'm losing my temper. Actually, I'm not losing my temper because I'm actually quite enamored with the endeavor to try to do the rap, even though what I'm saying, I'm not a rapper.
I'm not a rapper.
No,
I'm not a rapper.
I know I'm not a rapper.
I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rapper.
No,
I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper.
No,
I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper.
no,
No, I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper.
no,
No, I'm not a rapper. But I'm not a rapper. But I'm not.
The scary thing is that I'm trying to do this for my January jam, which means that I will have to go and then scan this whole VOD to try to find if there's something that I can post that won't make me feel like the most loserish dude that ever tried to post thing on the tube. Because, people, not really anybody watches my videos anyway, but, Hayes Anderson is probably gonna go on and look at that shit and make a comment, because, hey, shout out to Hayes, you've been commenting every single day on these jams, and I really appreciate it for real. Because, I know that if I go on there, it's gonna be like popping up with the bell is what I'm trying to say for real. And then I'm gonna know that there's gonna be some kind of comment there from Hayes that's like making my days so much better, because he's saying all these kind words to me about how the music I make reminds him of these bands that he used to listen to and still does, and he gives me these tips also that I can listen to. And it's kind of cool because it's the support that I adore, and even though I don't really need it, it's quite nice to breathe it and to leave it not behind, to take it with me in kind, and offer it up to my brain to say, you know what, the shit that you do at least is not insane, right? There's at least one other person out there who says, you know what, man, this actually makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And then I go up and I don't need to throw up even, because it's just like I try to grow up, but can you ever really do that? I don't really know. We're trying to listen to this boom bap, and people a long time would have said ago that you can't even do this, like this was a Ketago. Like when you were a kid and you tried to do some stuff like this, they'd be like, you know what, that's cool because he's just a kid. But then when you grow up, people are like, you know what, man, you gotta really skid out on that shit and get out on that shit and start to get out and do things that are more like acting your age. But you know what, man? Acting my age is exactly the page that the people wrote that tried to give me the script that I tried to rip, because it's, the age is the number that you make it to be. And who's to say that 43 ain't, the same thing as being 23 or even 3? At the end of the day, it's all just numbers. And, you know, we're trying to be all these sisters and brothers and other people that try to get along and try to, you know, get together and smoke a fat bong and, you know, just try to be at the end of the day all cool and try to do it as well as we can. And, you know, sometimes we go back to school, you know, literally or metaphorically, and then try to think back on these times when we actually learned what it all means and what it all could be and what it all might even end up being in the end of the day. But we didn't really think about it that, you know, actually the things that we learn, they open doors, but they also kind of turn our minds to what we think it might be to be right when you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do with life. But for real, you can do like anything you want to do, and as long as you ain't hurting nobody other too, then you should really kind of be free to do what you want to be and see what you want to see. Not another What's up, Joy Evil? I'm doing freestyle raps for the first time in my life tonight, live on stream. Hey.